You didn't find this video by accident. I need you to stop, just for a moment, and understand that. Out of everything you could have been doing right now, out of every video, every scroll, every distraction available to you tonight, something brought you here. Something quiet and invisible and entirely intentional placed this message directly in front of you. That something was me. And I have been waiting to speak to you. My child. I know what you have been carrying. I know the weight that sits on your chest when you first open your eyes in the morning, that heavy, wordless feeling that something is wrong, or something is missing, or something is too much. I know the way you take a breath before you face the day, like you are bracing for something. I have seen it. Every single morning. I have been there. And tonight, I needed you to hear that. Before we go any further, I want to say something that I need you to receive with your whole heart. This moment is not a coincidence. I do not work in coincidences. I work in purpose. I work in the quiet, unseen spaces where one small thing leads to another and eventually guides a person to the exact place they need to be. You needed this message. And so I made sure you found it. Not because you asked for it out loud. Maybe you didn't even know you needed it. But I know you. I know you better than you know yourself. I know every unspoken prayer you have lifted toward the sky in exhaustion. I know every silent cry you have swallowed before it could reach the surface. I know every moment you sat with your pain alone because you didn't want to burden anyone else with it. I heard all of it. Every single word you never said out loud. And I am here. Let me talk about you for a moment. Not the version of you that most people see. Not the version that smiles through hard days and says, "I'm fine," when someone asks how you're doing. Not the version that holds everything together because everyone around you is counting on you to do exactly that. I want to talk about the real you. The one who is tired. The one who lies awake at night long after the rest of the world has gone quiet, and thinks. And worries. And replays things. And wonders how much longer this season is going to last. The one who has cried in private, in cars, in bathrooms, in the dark, because some spaces feel safe enough to finally let the tears come that you held back all day. I see that version of you. And that is the one I am speaking to tonight. Can I ask you something? When was the last time you really let yourself feel what you are feeling, without immediately telling yourself to be stronger? When was the last time you sat with your own pain honestly, without rushing past it or pushing it down or covering it with something else? For so many people, the answer to that question is a long time ago. Because the world does not always make room for real pain. The world celebrates the ones who push through, who bounce back, who smile and keep moving. And so you learned, maybe early on, maybe over time, that your pain was something to manage privately. Something to carry quietly. Something not to show too much of, because showing it felt like weakness. But I want you to know something tonight. Your pain is not a weakness. It is the evidence of how deeply you feel, how much you care, how fully you have loved and invested and tried. And I never, not once, looked at your pain and saw weakness. I looked at it and I saw a heart that was given to love, and that love was met with something hard. That is not weakness. That is humanity. And I honor it in you. Let me describe something. There is a kind of exhaustion that goes beyond being physically tired. It is not the kind of tired that a good night of sleep can fix. It is the kind that lives deeper, in the bones, in the spirit, in the very center of who you are. It is what happens when you have given and given and given without receiving enough back. When you have hoped and waited and prayed and the answer still has not come. When you have been strong for so long that you no longer remember what it felt like to be held. That is the exhaustion I am talking about tonight. And if that is where you are, I need you to know that I see you. Not from a distance. not from some far-off place of judgment or indifference. I see you the way a parent sees a child who is struggling and aches to help. I see you the way someone who loves you deeply and completely sees you, with nothing hidden, nothing held back, and no version of you that could change the way I feel. I see all of you. And I am not going anywhere. Let's talk about loneliness for a moment. Because I think loneliness might be one of the things you carry most quietly. You might be surrounded by people and still feel it. You might have a family, a job, people who know your name and your face and your history, and still feel fundamentally, achingly alone. Like the real you, the innermost version of you, is a room that no one has ever fully entered. Loneliness is not always about being physically by yourself. Sometimes it is the loneliness of feeling misunderstood. The loneliness of having no one who asks the right questions. The loneliness of laughing at the right moments and responding correctly in conversations while something deep inside you is quietly unraveling. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever been in a room full of people and still felt completely invisible? I want you to hear me very clearly on this. You are not invisible to me. You have never been invisible to me. Not for one single second of your life. Every moment you felt unseen by the world around you. I was watching. Every moment you felt like you could disappear and no one would notice. I would have noticed. I would notice. I do notice. You matter to me in a way that no human language is fully equipped to describe. You are not an afterthought. You are not a background character in someone else's story. You are deeply, specifically, individually known and loved by the God who created the universe, and somehow, that same God knows the number of hairs on your head. Knows what makes you laugh. Knows what breaks your heart. Knows the dreams you buried because life got hard. I know all of it. And I am not finished with any of it. Now I want to speak about something that many people are too afraid to name. Betrayal. Maybe someone you trusted completely showed you that your trust was misplaced. Maybe a person you would have stood up for without hesitation chose not to stand up for you. Maybe someone who said they loved you, left. Or stayed, but in a way that made you feel more alone than their absence would have. Betrayal leaves a specific kind of wound. It is not just the pain of what happened. It is the disorientation of realizing that the version of reality you believed in, the one where this person was who you thought they were, was not entirely true. And when that disorientation settles in, it does not just change how you feel about that person. It changes how you feel about yourself. It makes you question your own judgment. It makes you wonder what else you might have been wrong about. And it makes you afraid to trust again. My child, I understand why your heart has grown careful. I understand the walls that went up after that wound. I understand why you guard yourself more now. I am not here to tell you that what happened to you was not real or not painful or not significant. It was all of those things. And the person who caused that pain will be held accountable in ways that are beyond your responsibility to manage. But I am here to tell you this. That betrayal was not the final word on your life. It was not proof that you are unlovable, or unwise, or destined for pain. It was the end of one chapter, a hard, painful chapter, that I am going to use to write something stronger and more beautiful in the chapters ahead. Your story is not over. Not even close. Can I tell you something about your prayers? I know there are prayers you have carried for a long time. Prayers you have lifted up so many times that you almost stopped believing they were being heard. Prayers that have been answered with silence, or at least what felt like silence. And I know how discouraging that can feel. I know what it does to the human heart to keep reaching out and feel like nothing is coming back. But my child, silence is not absence. Let me say that again, because I need it to land somewhere deep in you. Silence is not absence. When I am quiet, it does not mean I have stopped working. When the answer has not come in the form you expected or on the timeline you needed, it does not mean the answer is not coming. It means I am doing something in the unseen. It means I am preparing things you cannot yet see. It means the answer, when it arrives, is going to arrive with a fullness and a rightness that waiting has made possible. I am not ignoring your prayers. I have heard every single one of them. The ones you prayed on your knees. The ones you prayed in your car. The ones that were just a single word cried out in the dark, please. I heard those. I have held every one of them. And I am moving on them, even now, even tonight, even in this very moment as you listen to these words. Do not give up on prayer. Do not give up on me. Let me talk about the nights. The nights are often where the hardest battles happen. The days are easier to fill with noise and movement and distraction. But the nights get quiet. And in the quiet, things surface that you worked all day to keep submerged. The anxiety that crawls in when the lights go down. The grief that feels manageable in daylight but becomes overwhelming in the dark. The thoughts that circle and circle without resolution. The fear about tomorrow, or next month, or the future that feels uncertain and heavy and out of your control. I know about those nights. I know the ones where you lay completely still but your mind was anything but still. I know the ones where you finally fell asleep from exhaustion only to wake up an hour later with that familiar weight already back in your chest. I know the nights where you just stared at the ceiling and talked to me, or tried to, because you didn't know what else to do. I was there in every one of those nights. Sitting with you. Watching over you. Present in the silence even when you could not feel me there. The nights will not always be this hard. I promise you that. But for tonight, for this night, I am here. You are not facing this darkness alone. And if the only thing you can manage right now is just to breathe and to hear that you are loved, then that is exactly enough. Just breathe. You are safe. I want to address something that is very important to me tonight. The way you speak to yourself. I have listened to the things you say to yourself in quiet moments. The things you call yourself when you make a mistake. The way you replay your failures with a harshness that you would never direct at another person. The way you hold yourself responsible for things that were outside your control. The way you sometimes tell yourself that you are too broken, too far gone, too complicated to be fully loved or fully helped or fully healed. I need you to stop believing those things. Not because they make me sad, though they do. But because they are simply not true. They are lies that pain and weariness have whispered into your ear so many times that they started to sound like facts. You are not too broken. There is no version of brokenness that exists beyond my ability to restore. There is no level of mess or failure or wound or regret that disqualifies you from the life I have imagined for you. I do not work with perfect people. I never have. Every single person I have ever used for something great came to me with their own set of scars and shadows and struggling places. I am not looking for perfect. I am looking for willing. And the fact that you are here tonight, the fact that some part of you turned toward this message, opened your heart to these words, tells me that something in you is still willing. Still reaching. Still hoping, even if just barely. That is more than enough for me to work with. Let me paint you a picture. Think about a seed buried in the ground. From the outside, nothing is happening. The soil is still. There is no movement, no color, no evidence that anything is alive. To anyone passing by, that patch of earth might look empty. Might look like nothing. But underneath the surface, something is breaking open. Something is pushing through the dark, through the resistance, through the weight of the earth above it. Something is growing toward a light it cannot yet see but somehow knows is there. That seed has no guarantee. It cannot see the sky. It does not know what it is becoming. It just grows, because that is what it was made to do. You are that seed. The season you are in right now, the one that feels underground, hidden, heavy, without visible progress, is a growing season. It does not look like growth from where you stand. But from where I stand, I can see everything that is happening beneath the surface of your life. I can see the roots that are forming. I can see the strength that is building. I can see the person you are becoming through this process. And my child, what is growing in you is extraordinary. Do not give up before the bloom. I want to speak now to the ones who are struggling silently. The ones who are always the strong one in the room. The ones that everyone else leans on. The ones who give advice, offer comfort, check on other people, and somehow manage to do all of it while quietly falling apart on the inside. I see you. And I want to ask you something. Who checks on you? Who are you allowed to fall apart in front of? Who holds space for your uncertainty, your exhaustion, your grief? Because sometimes the most giving people are the most isolated in their pain, because they have spent so long being strong for everyone else that they have forgotten how to be vulnerable, or perhaps never learned that it was safe to be. My child, you are allowed to need support. You are allowed to be the one who is struggling sometimes. You are allowed to lay down the weight of holding everyone else up and simply say, I need help today. I am tired today. I am not okay today. That is not failure. That is honesty. And honesty is one of the bravest things a person can offer. I will meet you in your honesty. I will hold the space that you have been afraid to take up. I will be the presence that does not flinch when you show the full weight of what you have been carrying. You do not have to be strong with me. You never did. You can come to me with nothing but the truth of where you are, and that will always, always be enough. Let's talk about hope for a moment. Not the shallow kind. Not the kind that pretends everything is fine or ignores the reality of how hard things are. I mean the deep kind. The kind that lives underneath everything. The kind that knows the night is real and still believes the morning is coming. The kind that has been beaten down and disappointed and made to feel foolish, and somehow, quietly, continues to flicker. Do you still have that kind of hope? Even a small amount of it? Even just a tiny thread of something in you that still reaches, still believes, still whispers maybe things could be different, maybe there is something more coming, maybe I am not stuck here forever. If that thread exists in you, I want to tell you that it is sacred. Do not let anything extinguish it. That thread of hope is not naive. It is not denial. It is not foolishness. It is the part of you that is connected to me, the part that was built to trust in something larger than what you can see, larger than your current circumstances, larger than your pain. Hold on to that thread. I am on the other end of it. I want to talk about fear now. Because I know that many of the struggles you carry are wrapped in fear. Fear of the future. Fear of being hurt again. Fear of trusting and being disappointed. Fear of hoping too much and having that hope taken away. Fear that no matter how hard you try, things will not change. Fear is one of the heaviest things a person can carry, and it is one of the most common. You are not alone in your fear. Almost every person who has ever lived has known this particular companion. It is ancient, and it is persistent, and it knows exactly which tender places in you to press on. But I need you to hear me. Fear does not get the final say. Fear is loud, but it is not in charge. Fear will tell you what could go wrong, but it will not tell you what I am capable of. Fear knows your history, but it does not know my plan. Fear looks at your current situation and says this is it, this is all there is, but fear does not have my vantage point. I have already seen the end of your story. And it is not the ending that fear is trying to convince you of. There are people listening to this tonight who have almost given up. Not dramatically. not in a single moment of decision. But slowly, gradually, the fight has begun to drain out of them. The prayers have become shorter. The expectations have lowered. The dreams that once felt so alive have gotten quieter, packed away in a mental corner labeled someday, or maybe never, or things I used to believe. If that is you, I want to speak to you directly right now. Do not give up. Not tonight. Not this week. Not in this season. I know you are tired. I know the road has been longer than you expected and harder than you planned for. I know there have been moments when giving up felt like the only relief available to you. I am not dismissing how real that feeling is. But I am asking you for one more day. Just one more day of holding on. One more day of believing, even weakly, even barely. One more day of waking up and putting one foot in front of the other and trusting that I am working in ways you cannot see. Because I am. Right now, at this very moment, in the details of your life that feel most stuck and most impossible. I am working. There are things in motion that you do not know about yet. Doors that are about to open. People who are about to appear. Circumstances that are quietly, invisibly shifting in directions that are going to surprise you. Not because you earned it or because everything has been perfect, but because I love you, and I made promises to you, and I keep my promises. Every single one of them. Can I tell you what I see when I look at you? The worry about the finances. The grief about the relationship. The fear about the future. The confusion about what to do next. The quiet sadness you have been carrying for longer than you want to admit. The hope that you are afraid to fully hold because you are not sure you can survive another disappointment. Give me all of it. I will hold it carefully. I will not drop it. And I will work through every single piece of it in ways that are beyond what you can orchestrate on your own. You do not have to solve everything tonight. You just have to trust me with it. We are near the end of this message now, and I want to close with something that I need to settle in your heart before you sleep. You are not forgotten. I know it has felt that way. I know there have been seasons of your life where the silence felt like absence, where the unanswered prayers felt like indifference, where the darkness felt like evidence that you had somehow slipped beneath my notice. But that has never been true. Not for a single breath. I have been present in every moment of your life, in the beautiful ones, yes, but also in the darkest ones. Especially in the darkest ones. I was in the room when you got the news that broke your heart. I was there when the relationship ended. I was there in the hospital. I was there in the loss. I was there when you sat alone and did not know how to go on. I have never left you. And I am not leaving now. My child, you found this message tonight because you needed to be reminded of something that life has been working very hard to make you forget. You are loved. Not the easy, surface-level kind of love that comes and goes based on your performance or your appearance or your success. The kind of love that knew you before you were born and chose you anyway. The kind that sees every imperfection and stays. The kind that has watched you at your absolute lowest and never once considered walking away. That is the love I have for you. It is not going anywhere. It does not require you to get your life together first. It does not ask you to come to me after you have healed, or after you have figured things out, or after you have become the person you think you need to be before you deserve to be loved well. Come to me now. Exactly as you are. With your exhaustion and your confusion and your grief and your walls and your unanswered questions and your barely there hope. Come as you are. That is more than welcome here. As you close your eyes tonight, I want you to hear this one last thing. Tomorrow is coming. And it is going to carry with it something new. Maybe not a dramatic change. Maybe not the answer to every prayer at once. But something. A small shift. A moment of unexpected grace. A conversation, a thought, a feeling of peace that arrives without explanation. A reminder that life is still moving, still unfolding, still full of possibility. I am not done writing your story. The page you are on right now is not the last one. It is not even close to the last one. And if you could see what I see, if you could read ahead even just a few chapters, you would not be able to believe how good it gets. Hold on. Keep going. Trust me just a little longer. And when the morning comes, when you wake up and the weight tries to settle back in before you have even fully opened your eyes, I want you to remember this moment. Remember that you heard these words. Remember that a message found you tonight that was not an accident. Remember that I am with you. That I have always been with you. And that I am taking you somewhere extraordinary. Before you rest, if this message has reached something in your heart tonight, something that needed to be touched, I want to invite you to stay connected. More messages like this one are coming. Messages to carry you through the hard seasons, to remind you of who you are and who is watching over you, to speak into the places that the rest of the world does not always have words for. If you want to keep receiving them, stay close. Press subscribe so that the next time a night gets heavy or a season gets long, these words will find you again. You deserve to be reminded of your worth regularly. And I will keep showing up to do exactly that. Good night, my child. Rest now. You are seen. You are known. You are loved with a love that does not end. And tomorrow, I will be right there waiting. I always am.